Thank you very much. So as said, I'll be touching upon the journey for the Carlsberg Group to implement sustainability into the business. And here I'll focus on, in particular, carbon emissions and the water agenda. And I'll start with how we believe that a company should tackle its sustainability challenges. And this is basically by conducting a proper materiality of the topics that are important to society, but also to the business. And we latest updated this, what is called a materiality assessment last year. And what you can see from this overview are the things that we believe are the most important for us to focus on as a company. And as I said, today I'm focusing on climate change and water. And as you can see, those are also two of the very most material topics for us as a brewery. However, it's not enough that you focus on the topics as such. You also have to take into account the wider societal agenda that is going on. And here, the most significant is definitely the Sustainable Development Goals and the common language that was established back in 2015 by the UN in order for everyone on the planet to define what are the areas where we need to succeed in order for us to have a prosperous and fair world to live in. So, of course, we also looked very much at the Sustainable Development Goals in terms of where we should focus our efforts in our sustainability program. And the last point that I would say you really should look into, and what we have done, is your employees. So when we developed our sustainability program, we did training sessions with more than 7,000 employees discussing the big sustainability topics with them, getting input on what we should do in terms of the society and us as a business. So those three things together, you could say, which is the materiality assessment, the Sustainable Development Goals, and inclusion of your employees, means that we arrived at our sustainability program, which is called Together Towards Zero, and which is our global program, which consists of 4 main ambitions to achieve zero carbon footprint, zero water waste, zero irresponsible drinking, and the zero accidents culture. So these targets and ambitions that we have in this program are global. So that means our company, Carlsberg Polska, they have to adhere to the targets and ambitions we have the same way as Carlsberg Denmark or Carlsberg in Sweden or China or anywhere else. So this is the strength of being a global company, that we can really have a global impact when it comes to sustainability. And if I'm focusing on the carbon area, then we have extremely ambitious targets on carbon. We want to have zero carbon emissions at our breweries and also reduce our general carbon footprint in our wider value chain, or what we call beer in hand, with 30% by 2030. And what I will show you in the next couple of slides are examples of what we're then concretely doing to achieve these targets. Because when you look at the beer value chain, then our emissions are in many, many different parts of the value chain. So around 25% comes from the agricultural area, 13% is from the breweries, and many people thought that that was much more, but it's only around 13%. 41% comes from our packaging, 12% from transportation and distribution, and 9% from cooling. So basically, the targets that we have, they will mean that we will, by 2030, have taken the equivalent of 800,000 cars off the road when we reach our 2030 target. And already, since the launch of our targets, we have reduced our beer in hand footprint with 7%, or the equivalent of taking 200,000 cars off the road. So this is the impact we can have as a fairly big company when we really do good stuff on sustainability. And in the next slides, I'll just show you, so what are some of those things that have contributed to taking these 200,000 cars off the road? Well, first of all, we have reduced our coal usage with 97% since 2015. We have now got 64% of our electricity coming from renewable sources, with a target of going to 100% by 2022. But we are also doing partnerships and activations in our wider value chain. An example here from the UK, where we work together with supplier Encirc to create glass bottles with 90% lower carbon footprint by having 100% recycled content and using zero emission sources for heating the furnace that created our bottles. And this is a sign of what's to come. All of the suppliers that deliver to us need to significantly reduce their carbon footprint, and they can do that with innovation and doing it with really new ways of working and thinking. And that will help us as well as them to de-risk their operations and contribute positively to society. So this is an example from glass bottles, but an example that we launched back in 2018. It is the Snap Pack, where it has two main things that it does. Basically, it reduces plastic, but it also reduces CO2 emissions. And if we focus on the plastic part, then the Snap Pack is really packaging that only consists of small glue dots in between the cans. And we're proud to have one of the machines operating in Poland, producing Snap Packs for many countries in Europe. And what that does is it creates a totally different view of packaging, because we're basically saying the best packaging is the one that you're not using. So here we have reduced with up to 76% versus normal shrink-wrapped multi-packs. And we right now have the Snap Pack in 7 markets. So this is a result of having an ambitious sustainability program. It requires that you think differently and that you create new types of partnerships with your suppliers when it comes to the packaging. Another example is from Carlsberg in UK, where we have actually created a partnership with WWF to try to inspire a different way of acting from the consumers, but also to help contribute to the agenda of WWF. And in fact, to show you how this is being shown directly to the consumers, I have 2 short 30-second movies that has recently been aired in the UK that I will ask the organizer to run in YouTube now. So if you can show these 2, thank you.
Each Carlsberg Snap Pack removes plastic rings from our packaging. Does that make our beer taste even better? We believe that working together makes anything possible. So imagine if when you did this happened. Carlsberg has partnered with WWF to plant seagrass, which can absorb carbon faster than a rainforest. Does that make our beer taste even better?
Thank you. So these were 2 examples from how we activate the partnership with WWF in the UK. And basically what you saw was the first advert was, of course, an advert for the Snap Pack. And in the UK, we have primarily been using what is called the high cone in the past. And this high cone is basically these plastic rings that you saw. So we used the partnership with WWF to show how we are taking action on the plastic rings by eliminating them by introducing the Snap Pack. The second video that you saw, it basically showed you how we're also contributing to WWF's agenda by doing a cost-related marketing impact, where we are donating money for each of the special crates with WWF logos on it, sold in order to plant seagrass in the North Sea. And seagrass is pretty amazing because it basically sucks carbon out of the water and then ultimately out of the air and sequesters it in the bottom of the North Sea. This also contributes to both sequestering carbon, but also to biodiversity improvements, which in then turn benefits the entire ocean and ocean life. So this was just to show you how we can take an innovation and make it come alive in the consumer-facing area with a partnership with an NGO. And actually, I see I have a question where the question from Eva is whether FMCG customers are ready for real innovation and whether they will allow or agree if our beers were sold only in reusable glass bottles. And I guess Eva is aware of the fact that reusable glass bottles that are operated in an efficient system is one of the lowest carbon footprint packages that you can get, except of course for draft beer, which is the lowest carbon beer you could buy. So would the customers agree to only reusable bottles? Well, I think that consumers should have a choice, and I think that some consumers will prefer a can over a reusable bottle, but that the ones who are very climate conscious, well, in a country like Poland, they should definitely buy the reusable glass bottle over the can, but they should even more so buy the reusable bottle over a one-way glass bottle. So if you have the choice between a one-way glass bottle and a reusable glass bottle, you should definitely choose the reusable one, because a one-way glass bottle has sometimes up to 3 or 4 times the carbon impact of a reusable bottle. And to answer your question, would the customers be ready to only buy reusables? No, I don't think so. I think they want choice, but I do think that there are big consumer groups that are definitely interested in doing the thing that is best for the climate. And here the answer is either go to a bar and only buy draft beer, or buy the reusable glass bottles when they are operated in an efficient system, like in the Nordics or also in Poland. So just to move on to some of the other examples that I can show you, then we also have the green fiber bottle. And the green fiber bottle is a breakthrough innovation that we've been working on since 2015, where basically we went out to the world and said, we would like to create a different type of packaging made from paper pulp, but we need help to make it. And we were very happy that in 2019, we were able to show the world that that vision that we had now been actually put into a separate company, where the two pioneer owners, Dilot Korsnes and Alpla, had come together and bought the small company that we started working with together in 2015. And at the same time, they brought the right competencies into the company that could actually make a paper bottle happen. At the same time, we also expanded the customer group or the brands that were included to also include L'Oreal, Absolute Company, and the Coca-Cola Company, in order for us to not only have fiber bottles with beer in it, but also extend it to other categories. This is really how we work as Carlsberg. We don't think that a sustainable innovation should be kept to ourselves. We believe that it is best shared with others, and then we can also share the development and also learnings from developing something as crazy as a fiber bottle. So we're right now in the development of the next prototype of this bottle, and you'll hear much more about that later this year. But it's safe to say that it is a big task. It is very difficult to do, but with such great powers on board, as you can see on this slide, we are 100% certain that we will be able to make it happen. Just giving you a few examples of the things we do regarding the water agenda as well. Then when you look to our second zero water waste, we have very ambitious targets of 50% reduction in water usage at our breweries by 2030, and to also create partnerships outside of the breweries to protect the shared water resources. And we actually just last week, 2 weeks ago, inaugurated a world-class water recycling plant in Denmark, where we will basically take our water consumption down from 2.9 hectoliters per hectoliter produced to 1.4, which is, to our best knowledge, the most water efficient brewery in the world at scale. And the way that that is done is that we are basically cleaning the service water from the brewing process in a way where it is of clean drinking water cleanliness. And then we take 90% of that water and take it back as service water in the brewery for cleaning bottles, for washing the brewery, etc. And that then continues going. And that is what enables us to reduce water so significantly. We're creating a blueprint model of this brewery, and then we're going to roll it out to other breweries where it is possible to introduce the same type of technology. And I have to just make it clear, the recycled water does not go into the beer. It is only used as service water in the brewery. But as said, we also have commitments outside of the breweries. And here we have an example from India, where we are installing an amazing piece of equipment called the desalinator, which is basically taking brackish water, cleaning it to clean drinking water levels, and providing that to the local communities as part of a female entrepreneurship model, getting access to clean water in that area. So that's an example of the partnerships we're running. And just to let you know that there is much more information about how we work with sustainability and our work in our global operations. So please do go and follow us on social media and read our sustainability report if you want to know more. But this was my 19 minutes. So now I think we have room for some questions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly. So just right on time. Thank you very much for that. I would like to show one more thing because we prepared a summary of all of the presentations. So I would like to show also some key messages from this one, so you can download it to your computer. Also, we will send out it after the event, but maybe you would like to read it now. So I know that you have already answered one question. I can't see more, but actually I have one question, because I hear very often when we cooperate with companies that actually how to reconcile sustainability with the growth of the company. Did you ask this question yourself as well, or not?
So first of all, a successful business is a growing business. What is really the challenge is to make sure that it doesn't contradict your sustainability targets. So when you look at the climate agenda, when you, for example, convert to renewable energy, then you can grow as much as you want because that energy has zero emissions. So you have to find the right ways to create your sustainability program, and then growth should not be an issue. In terms of our targets are relative to our production, right? So that means that we allow for growth in the business at the same time as reducing our water consumption and our carbon emissions. But of course, our target to have zero carbon emissions, that's a pretty absolute target, right? So that is not relative to anything. But again, as I said, if you are running 100% renewable energy, then it's not an issue of how many kilowatt hours you're using, because it all has zero emissions.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for this presentation, for the whole inspiration.